personal test. What up, life? I see your mess. I'ma still grind till I get success. I'm working, I just wanna work. I'm learning, I'm earning all the things that I deserve. So why you trying to act cool? I don't even need you. You can make me lose my breath. I'm focused, too focused. Attention on the road ahead. I'm sorry, boy, but you can't flatter me. I'm looking for that loyalty. No, games have never been my thing. That's just some immaturity. Don't waste my time while I'm shining. No boys allow me to real me. You can't flatter me. You can't flatter me. I'm measured in best version of myself. Add value, creativity. That's a mark I wanna leave. Don't mean to be intimidating, but I can't help it. I don't mind the waiting, and I'm gonna wait till I find what I waited for. A real man, now let fate open up that door. Open up that door. I'm sorry, boy, but you...
The Big Play Reflog Show is brought to you by ShackNews.com. Shack News is the place to be for all your gaming needs with news, guides, walkthroughs, and reviews. Like today's featured article, a review of the new game Paparazzi. And speaking of pups, check out Shack News' brand new app, Shack Pets, to view, upload, and vote on the cutest pet pics. And remember, you can join in on the conversation and customize your feed using the Shack News Cortex and Shack News Reader. If you're a gamer, Shack News is the site for you. Check them out on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch at the handle @ShackNews and @ShackNews.com.
It's time! Streaming live from Cleveland, Ohio. Presenting the undefeated, undisputed heavyweight podcast of the world. The Big Play Reflog Show.
Okay, do you need medical attention?
Yeah.
What is wrong?
I don't know. I know damn well. Attack by Chuck. To the 10. He's still running with his 5. He dips out to the 50. Touchdown. Sugar Run. Ready one. Away. Back to goal.
It's time! The Big Play! Reflog
Welcome to the Big Play Reflog Show. Today is Monday, January 24th, 2022. What is going on, everybody? I'm your host, Big Play Dave, alongside Gab Cruz with the intro music and Mr. Chris McNeil. How are you guys?
Dave, I made it through a snow day today. Just got done shoveling the driveway. The kids were off today. I just got the phone call, 2-hour delay for tomorrow. So we're in the throes of January and snow here in Ohio.
Thoughts on a 2-hour delay? I think that's stupid.
I think it's really tough on all these parents. You know, if they're working, they've got to figure out something for the morning. A lot of times 2-hour delays turn into, cancellations. So
Yeah,
why don't
just
you
commit.
Cancel? That's right. Just commit.
Commit.
Don't go to the 2-hour delay. I agree. But all the schools, that's what they like to do these days, is go to the delay before they go and cancel for the day. And that does screw up a lot of parents out there.
Soft. Gab, how we doing?
I'm good. I don't ever remember there being a delay thing when we were in school.
It's a relatively new phenomenon. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, what a buzzkill.
It's them hedging. I mean, just make a call. Stop this hedging crap.
Now, Gab, you won't remember this, but Chris, when we were little, remember on the tube TV in the living room, you'd see the school names scrolling across the bottom. You're like, come on.
Well, that you'd have the radio on too. And like every 10 minutes, you'd have to listen to the whole list. So you'd have both of those things going at once. And hopefully you
I never did the radio.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
we would just watch the little scroll just like we have it on the screen here, and that would be like Bay Village schools closed. Yeah, girl. You probably just had social media, didn't you?
I remember checking emails for sure. Like,
Okay.
usually someone texted me before I even knew it was happening. I was like,
Text. We had that
yes.
back in the day. Oh, text.
Chris, no one Snapchatted you.
No, and you'd have to watch the scroll, and invariably you'd always miss it too. I'd be looking for like Revere back in the day. It'd be like Talmadge. Like, oh, I missed it. I have to go all the way around again. God bless it, because it's all in alphabetical order.
That's right. I feel like we're just delaying talking about Baker. We're just going to talk
We're not
snow
going to talk
days.
about Baker. Right? We're going to talk about the Cavs. Cavs are up right now on New York. We're going to talk a little Meatloaf, his Cleveland
yeah.
connection. So let's get into it, Dave. I think you've
Heck
got
yeah.
the whole rundown, don't you?
I believe I do, and I think Kevin Love hit about 4 threes while we were just talking.
Yeah.
All right, we got a good show. We got Steve Popovich Jr., president of Cleveland International Records, joining the show. That's the label that they released Meatloaf's "Bat Out of Hell" back in the day, right out of Cleveland.
Opera, a rock opera.
Yes.
No one else would touch it, and this little label out of Cleveland, Ohio, decided they'd take a flyer on it. So we're going to find out that story, and I'm excited to hear this one, Dave.
Heck yeah! After that, Cavs trivia for Who Wants to Be a Billionaire. Hopefully giving away some Labatt Blue Lights and a GV shirt. Got some cool new releases with their Cleveland basketball stuff. And then Cleveland Headlines brought to you by TSE Cleveland. And we will wrap up with the best and worst tweets of the week. There's plenty of them. Let's kick it off with some Power Rank Monday.
It's time for Power Rank Monday.
All right, we've had a ton of snow this past week. Chris, how's Granville been? I would assume about the same, given that you had a snow day today.
Last couple of days, we've gotten plenty of snow. Really, the first snow of the year of any significance, and they're making up for lost time. There's a lot of snow out there.
Nice. How many sledding trips thus far?
Not so much sledding. We did do the whole snowman, and of course, I've shoveled the driveway like 4 times, and I've gone skiing. So gotten in the ski trip.
Oh, look
That's
at
good.
you. Good
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
All right, so we're just going to not talk about the Browns, and we're going to rank our favorite snow day activities from childhood. So I will go with my number 3.
Number 3.
Snow forts. Grew up with the brothers. We
Sure.
would build snow forts all day long. It was awesome.
What was your technique? How would you make the snow forts? 'Cause
We would,
used to make 'em,
yeah, we would take the snow shovel
right.
and scoop it into a gigantic pile, and then
And
we
carve.
would either go igloo style and go through, or we would build perimeter walls if we were attacking each other.
Gotcha. So you do the pile and carve technique.
Pile and carve, correct. What about you?
Yeah. So we used Tupperware. I'd use the big Tupperware.
What?
Not the small things, but the big storage containers. Fill those with snow,
yeah.
pack them in, and then make them like bricks.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
so you actually built like legitimate forts.
Oh yeah. And sometimes
Did you stack those?
yeah, you could stack them and then kind of form them from there. A lot of times you'd lose the shape because you'd be forming them, which is fine because you want to make it so there's no holes. You don't see any light coming in. And if you really wanted to get good with it, you pull out the hose, Dave. You put a little water on there, really ice it up, make it just like an ice igloo. We did that before. So we made some fairly substantial igloos back in the day. Those were always fun.
Any like guard towers or anything like that on there?
No, but we always tossed around like sleeping the night in one of those because as kids, that's what you want to do, right? And parents always said no. They were always scared it was going to like cave in the middle of the night. Just have a bad situation out there in the backyard.
Speaking of the water hose, what me and the kids started doing, we have like a deck where there's stairs down into the yard, and we build a sledding hill now and just ice that thing, and they just run with their sleds and can go like 50 feet. It's awesome.
All down the stairs, you ice the stairs.
You ice the stairs. Well, you pack it with snow.
I
So
see.
you take the
okay.
shovel, you pack the entire stairs with snow, so it's a nice hill, and then you water it.
So
So it's
you're not like inviting grandma over after you've done this. Like, hey, come on up, grandma.
no.
You know, it's a little icy out here on your back deck, Dave.
We're coming over for dinner. Oh my god. Yeah. No. All right, my number 2.
Number 2.
Hanging all day in pajamas after you see that school name come across, watching cartoons all day long, maybe a little Price is Right.
Pajamas that were inside out, right? That's what we always did to try to get the snow day. I don't know if that's a thing for you guys.
like
That's
rally,
like a rally
cap
cap? Yeah. Rally pajamas?
Yeah, rally jammies.
Rally jammies. Oh, that's good.
So that was the night before?
Yeah, you would wear them inside out, and then you'd wake up and you'd have no school.
No way. I have never heard this before in my life. You are totally making this up.
Maybe it was just me, but
I want to hear more about your custom. You gotta do a whole show. Just these little
what's the
things,
Anchorman
systems
quote?
everybody else does.
Works 60% of the time, works every time.
Every time.
Black Panther.
Rally jammies. That's fantastic.
Rally jammies.
Wow. All right, my number 1.
Numero uno.
And this was later in life as we got a school snow day. Just going back to bed.
Yeah.
It was such a good feeling. Going back to bed anytime you get a chance is one of the greatest feelings ever. Chris, top 3.
My number 3.
Number 3.
And we actually did this. My mom, McGrandma on Twitter, she can vouch for this one. We used to go down, me and Mike Lee on Ranchwood Spur, and we go down to his house. They had a 1-story little ranch house, and we would sled off the roof. And that was just the best time. Sledding off of my neighbor's roof.
Like
over there at the Lees.
Like you got airborne then with it.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously.
Oh, yeah. We get a ladder. We get up on top, and then can go right up to the peak of the roof and then sled down from there. And then we'd have a big mound of snow there at the ground level. And you could just sled right into it. It was all, it was all great until
little echo.
Mr. Lee found out about it. And he was a little concerned about his gutters and what we were doing to the gutters. So it only lasted for maybe a couple of months in the winter, but after that, he put the kibosh on that. But it was good times, sledding off the neighbor's roof.
I thought you were going to say he was worried about you guys breaking your arm or something.
Nobody cared about us. No.
The gutters.
Their kid, no. They were more concerned about the gutters. I never really. Yeah, they were really pissed about the gutters. They could care less about us.
What was the trial and error period for like how much snow in inches or feet you had to have to land off of a roof? Because that had to be at least
that came along later too.
9
That was
feet.
one of those where he started just going off and like, oh, this is fun, but man, it hurts. Like, you know what we could do? Let's build up some snow here. Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. My number 2.
Number 2.
Daytime TV. I think you touched on this, Dave, but Price is Right. All those goodies that you don't otherwise get to see. That's always fun. And on a good snow day, getting in your jammies, whether they're right side out or inside out, watching The Price is Right is fantastic. But my number 1.
Numero uno.
Only really did this once because it's kind of counterintuitive to the whole snow day concept. But if you had a friend who could drive and was willing to go out and kind of battle the elements, going skiing on a snow day is fantastic. And I remember distinctly doing it once up there at Boston Mills Brandywine back in the day when it was really bad and it took us forever to get up there. And it was really not safe at all because obviously everything's shut down because it's a snow day, but it
sounds like a horrible idea.
But the skiing, Dave, is fantastic. So I highly advise if you ever get the opportunity to spend a snow day up there at Boston Mills Brandywine. There's my plug for them.
I like it. All right, Gab, top 3.
I have been there once, Chris. It is pretty cool.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, I'm not a huge skier, but I've been once, and credit to you for getting out on the slopes. What level are you on?
See, I started pretty young. I started when I was 11 or 12, right in there. Which is actually kind of late for skiing. I got my kids started a little bit earlier, but so I've skied my whole life now, I could say.
Oh, okay.
You're so humble. Just say
ski
double black
Tiger.
diamond.
I could ski Tiger out there, Boston Mills. I could ski the toughest in Ohio, you know?
Okay, yeah. I didn't realize you were such a pro. That's awesome. I saw my life flash before my eyes. I went skiing for the first time in Michigan, and I forget where exactly it was, but they were telling me I was going too straight and not diagonal enough, and that's why I was going so fast and almost died.
And that'll happen. My son.
Yeah.
In a
Like I
couple of
wasn't
years.
zigzagging enough, and I was just flying and everything. I was trying to stop, and I think I stopped for like 5 minutes. I like went to the side and it was like shh. Like I was stopping for a full 5 minutes.
No one taught you the pizza wedge.
I was trying no, it was
She's doing the fries. The
I
fries.
it,
You know,
it
learn
considered
the
more
fries.
than pizza wedge was not going to get me out of that situation. I need to put on the full like sideways. I was ready to like lay my body down.
By the way, Ed in Columbus says, I'm watching this show instead of getting trapped in brown spaces.
Wait, that's hilarious.
Good call, Ed.
I was trapped in the brown spaces last night. Okay, my power rank number 3. I'm gonna go with the classic. I live near the Metro Park, so there's lots of hill, lots of open area for kids. So we would definitely lug our sleds over to the park and just like fly down the hills. And there was always usually a friend who lived a little bit like who was closest, and their house became home base for like their parents would just make us food and hot chocolate and all that stuff. So always a good time. The spontaneous sledding. And then number
Metro Park still have a toboggan run? There's a toboggan run at one.
Oh,
of
I
those.
remember that. I went to that in grade school.
we would do
tell you
that
a
one
quick
too. I
story.
know what you're talking about.
I'll tell you a quick story. I know we're kind of up against it, but the last time the Cincinnati Bengals had won a playoff game when they played the Raiders and they destroyed Bo Jackson, I remember my dad was listening to that game and we were up there at the bobsled at the toboggan run. So I remember that distinctly. It's just the way sports are. You kind of remember the time and place. And I remember when Bo got hurt during that playoff game because we were at the toboggan run.
Oh, that's funny. I think I know which one you're talking about too. And on that one, I remember being on that and holding the side of the toboggan.
Oh yeah.
And we slid down and it something like slit the my gloves open, but my fingers were okay. But I remember looking at it like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was intense. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're flying down that thing and
You are. Right.
so yeah, my number 2 would probably be it's cliche, but like snuggling up and watching movies all day, like, you know,
What's a good go-to movie?
Dave was saying it. Oh, my go-to movie?
Yeah.
Guys, Monsters University, and you didn't hear me stutter. I love Monsters Inc., but my favorite actually since watching Monsters University is the number 2, so the follow-up movie. I've watched it like 1,800 million times. It wasn't available back then, but if you're talking about the present moment, if I got a snow day today, it's Monsters Inc. like Monsters University at least a couple times.
Did not have that one on
Always
my
watching.
I'm watching you, Wazowski. Always watch. That's the first one. The second one, Monsters University, cracks me up. Whoever wrote it is like basically someone I want to meet, and hopefully one day we can have them on the show.
There we go. Like
I have
that.
to find them.
Incredible writing. So yeah, snuggling up, pajama day, movies, number 2. Number 1,
Numero uno.
The King, was snowball fights. Big deal in our neighborhood. Big deal at our school. So ironically, sometimes we would meet back at the school, even though we were off school, and like the kid you might have a crush on would be there, and you'd be like decking him with a snowball. That was how you showed your affection. And so I just remember being like all jazzed about like getting my competitive spirit on and like teaming and picking teams and stuff, and then just like smashing each other's faces in the snow. So good times.
Excellent. Speaking of good times, your Cavs won tonight 95-93 over the New York Knickerbockers.
Heck yeah.
I saw Darius Garland had a hell of a game too.
He did.
Yeah.
And
Coro
Kyle-
Everton.
That straight game of like, I don't know, what was it? Double-double?
Double. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's averaging 20 points and 10 assists.
Not bad. And we will get into some Cavs talk, but now it is time for our featured interview of the week. Let's do it. Already on the Labatt Blue Hotline, we got the president of Cleveland International Records, Steve Popovich Jr. joining the show. Steve, how are you, man?
Featured interview of the week. I mean, this is big time. I'm a little nervous here. Hold on a second.
Would you
How
like
you
to
guys doing?
power rank your favorite things in the snow?
Yeah, well, let's see. I tried skiing, a couple times in high school, and that didn't work out too well for me. Although I did used to snowboard, however, I could never stop. So I was, always bracing myself to, eat snow. But that didn't last long. But anyway, no, very interesting conversation. I was pleased to be able to, tune in and hear all about, the tobogganing to Monsters University, which I do agree. I think that's a great movie. Although I'm surprised you didn't bring up Better Off Dead, the movie. I mean, I think that's a good one. Skiing, snow, home. But I want my $2. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, I'm drifting off. How you guys doing? All right?
We're good, man. We're doing real well.
I appreciate y'all having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, your record label was just in the news this week, everywhere, really, especially here in Cleveland with, sad news of the passing of Meatloaf. What was your relationship with him like after kind of all of these years?
Well, you know what? My relationship really started after my father's passing. I had met Meat several times over the years, of course, and back then, in the early days of Bat Out of Hell and all that, I was very young, and then my father and I moved to Nashville back in 1986. So it was really when we started, getting close was probably after my father passed away, and most certainly up until the last couple of years when he moved on to Nashville, I'd say about 3 years ago. And, he had heard that I reactivated Cleveland International, and he wanted to get together. And I said, well, come on over. So he came over to the house. We spent a couple hours together. And he's like, I got one album left in me, and I want to put it on Cleveland International. So the hairs on my neck just stood straight up because, it was incredibly, I was incredibly humbled by that, obviously. And, when you talk about things coming around full circle with my dad starting off, Meat's career back in the 70s, and here I am, was to have his last album was, obviously extremely privileged and honored, but unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. So there you go.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, how special is it for you to kind of be able to bring back your father's record label after all of these years?
It's extremely special. It's when he passed away in 2011. I mean, he left an incredible legacy. And it was something I knew that when certain matters were taken care of, I wanted to reactivate his label and carry on his legacy. Extremely important. I mean, it's been my full-time job for the last 3.5 years. So, nothing like picking up the torch and carrying on for him and the city of Cleveland,
Heck yeah. What was it like kind of growing up in that atmosphere as a kiddo?
You know what? I've been asked that a lot. And to be honest with you, it was, I felt I lived a fairly normal life. But those people back then, and I don't know if it was the way my father was, it didn't matter if it was Johnny Cash or Meatloaf or whoever. He treated everybody the same. So it wasn't like this big figure coming over to our house or eating dinner or walking into my father's conference room and there'd be Johnny Cash there. He treated everybody like family, and that's what it felt like, So I guess it really wasn't until I got into high school and realized, when we had moved back to Cleveland and he restarted Cleveland International, you'd start seeing things, on the news and in the papers. And that's really, I think, when I got a really good understanding and really dove into, the depth of his career. I knew he was in the music business, obviously, but the depth and the magnitude, I had no idea. Even after he passed away and was on the news, I mean, I had, many of my friends from high school reaching out, I never knew your dad did that, So yeah, I don't know if that answered your question or not, but
You're just sitting around growing up eating broccoli at the dinner table with Johnny Cash.
I don't know if it was broccoli. It's probably more like Waffle House or something like that. No, but I have a lot of great memories. Growing up as a kid and being around all those people. Now looking back, they were great times. So
for those in our audience who maybe don't know the story about Cleveland International and then Meatloaf and how that all came together, how that relationship formed with your father. Can you kind of take us through that? Because Meatloaf was having a hard time selling Bat Out of Hell, and if it wasn't for you guys, it may not have happened.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was certainly, and if you want, I can give a little quick backstory on Senior prior to Cleveland International. He was, he started in the Columbia Records warehouse in 1962, all in thanks to Frank Yankovic, America's Polka King, by the way. So that's how he got his job in the record business, where he spent 7 years working his way up in Cleveland, and then he got a job as assistant to Ronald Luxembourg, who was vice president of CBS Records at the time. And from there, in the 60s, he became the first ever vice president of promotion under Clive Davis, and worked with and promoted some of the biggest artists, in the world. And then from there, he became vice president of A&R through 1976. He signed Michael Jackson at the Jacksons, along with Ronald Luxembourg, to CBS Records, Boston, Cheap Trick, a plethora of artists. And then, he decided he wanted to move back to Cleveland. My mom was, living in Freehold, New Jersey, and, he was commuting to work. And I don't think he came home until on the weekends. I mean, he slept in New York, slept on his couch in his office, got up at 5 a.m. and started again. So I think that took a toll on them. And, he decided, like I said, in 76, moved back to Cleveland. He wanted to start his own imprint for Epic Records, Cleveland International. It was shortly after he started the label, he got a cassette tape from David Sonnenberg, I believe, who was me and Jim Steinman's manager at the time. And it was one of those things that grew on him over a short period of time, to the point to where, he felt like he could champion this record, and you got to understand, this was, back in the days of, I referenced Peter Frampton types, and here's this guy, 300 plus pounds, long hair, 7-minute songs, operatic voice, but my dad always had a knack for finding left of center talent, and that was extremely left of center.
I was going to say,
yeah,
pretty out there stuff, really.
It was really, really out there. But again, it was something that grew on him, and he fell in love with, and he signed Meatloaf, and the rest, they say, is history. Now, I will say that it took that record had been shopped around to every label in the industry at that time. Clive Davis turned it down. Mo Austin, Warner Brothers. They were saying that it felt like they were opening up labels just to turn them down. But they, Bearsville, who was, Todd Rundgren's label, they turned it down as well. They were with Warner's. That's Mo Austin. And, anyway, long story short, my dad and a guy by the name of Bill Catino and the late, great Marty Mooney, their big team of three in Willoughby Hills, Ohio, they went to work, and, my dad was, very, well, one of his quotes that I use to this day, be stubbornly passionate about your beliefs. And that's what he was. I mean, he went to war, and it took probably a couple years, for it to really get some momentum. I remember him saying, CBS Epic, they wanted a new album. I think they sold 140,000 copies at that time. But Ed's like, y'all are crazy. I mean, we haven't even begun to kick the door down on this record. And then I think what really, really broke the camel's back was the CBS National Convention in 1978 in New Orleans, where all the promotion guys, everyone from CBS Records around the world, they have a national convention each year in a different city. And that year, my dad was able to get Meatloaf to close the show. And from what I heard, I mean, that's what really got the company to buy in and really believe in this record. Not to say there weren't people within Epic that were very supportive of the album in the beginning. There were, but it took the 500-pound gorilla, my old man, to really, he was a promotion guy like no other. I mean, he was unbelievable. He was relentless, and I mean that in the very best way. And in this business, you got to be. You can't take no for an answer. And that's what he did. And, so that's kind of in the nutshell, in the early beginnings, all thanks to John Gorman, WMMS, Henry Lacani, the Agora, really Meatloaf and was embraced by the city of Cleveland. There was a mutual love there from day one, and that's extremely important, I believe, in the story and the creation and making of Bat on a Hill.
Was there ever a moment like when you were kind of growing up and you were going through, just the normal things you do as a kid or whatever, and you realize that, hey, maybe things are a little bit different than in my household than others? Was there ever like that moment that you got and you said, boy, this is, I guess this is kind of cool. This is kind of different, or something like that along the lines?
You know what? I'll never forget. There was one time I was in high school, back when you had actual telephones in your house with recording. I'll never forget. Chris Farley
Gab
called
doesn't
our
remember
house one
those
time.
days, so I'm glad you said that for Gab's
A
benefit.
little too young. I remember there was something. My dad, I don't know who he was able to get in touch with, but Chris Farley called our house and left a message.
Wow.
Hey, Steve, this is Chris. I got your message, et cetera, et cetera. And I'll never forget, I went to Lake Catholic High School in Mentor. We had pay phones back then. She probably didn't know what those are. I had a line of about 15 people. They didn't believe. I said, you guys are never going to believe this. Chris Farley called my house. And this was in the height of his career. My dad wanted to talk to him. I don't know if it was maybe wanting him to play Meatloaf in a movie, something. I don't know what it was. But I remember he called and left a voice, not a voice phone, but left a message on our phone. I swear, I was 15 people deep in high school. It was I was the most popular kid at school that day. Yeah, it was awesome. That was a pinch me moment for sure.
What a concept! Chris Farley playing Meatloaf in a movie.
And I know they talked. I know, right?
That's incredible.
Actually, fast forward. So when VH1 did the Meatloaf movie, my dad and I went out there. They wanted him to help write the script. And somehow he got me a part in the movie playing, I think it was Marty or Bill Catino, one of the promo guys from Cleveland International days. But the guy who played Meatloaf, his name is W. Earl Brown. I don't know if you remember the movie Something About Mary.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
And he was Warren Frankenbeans.
Oh, no way.
That does look like Meatloaf.
Yeah. And he looked identical to Meatloaf. And ironically, Meatloaf was 2 or 3 lots over making a movie. So we actually ran into Meatloaf while we were on set of the VH1 movie about Meatloaf. But Earl is still a dear friend of mine. He was in Deadwood and all kinds of great movies and series. That was pretty cool, pretty fascinating. But he did a great job. But that would have been neat having Chris play the part of Meatloaf. That would have been incredible.
Yeah, no doubt. No,
I mean, Chris was known for running around doing somersaults and cartwheels on stage anyhow. I mean, that's what Meat was doing back in the 70s.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Boy, that would have been a match made. Oh, yeah. What a
look at that. That looks a lot like
there you go. You've got the picture up. A little pixelated there, Dave.
Well, you know what? I'm on the fly here.
I know you're on the gun, but that's pretty good to pull it up that quick. That's good production value right there. So what did Meatloaf think about the portrayal of him in the movie?
I don't think he liked it. And I read somewhere recently, I think that was a big reason for his wife at that time divorcing him.
Wait a second.
Yeah, to my understanding, actually, according to Earl, Meat did not like the movie.
Okay.
And, they would see each other in LA because Earl was big into softball and Meatloaf was obviously big into softball. But they would see each other, at functions. And according to Earl, he just got that feeling that, he wasn't happy. I don't think it was necessarily his portrayal of him in the movie, but I think just how that whole thing was written out, while Meat was married.
Oh.
And again, that's according to him.
Sure.
I have no idea.
Sure. Yeah, I guess that'd be tough if he's sitting down there watching it with his wife. And
Right.
that's tough to explain. Why don't we just watch
right?
the movie? Why don't we just watch the movie? Let's. I'll go get some more popcorn. In fact, do you want to go out and get the popcorn? I'm going to fast forward this thing a
Yeah,
little bit.
I'll get on my.
I know what's
skis
coming up in the next few scenes. I remember those years.
here.
Oh man. So tell
Pretty
us,
well.
bring us up to speed now. So where's the label at now? What are you guys working on? Do you have any prospects here going forward?
Well, so we reactivated the label in October of 18, and initially I wanted to reissue some of our back catalog. I reissued the Cleveland Rocks compilation, which they're all artists that were either signed to Cleveland International or were associated with Cleveland International Records. So everyone from Meatloaf, Paradise by the Dashboard Light, to Ronnie Spector and E Street Band, who we recently lost as well about 2 weeks ago.
Right.
To Ian Hunter, Cleveland Rocks, to Southside John and the Asbury Jukes, Joe Grishecki and the House Rockers, etc. And we put out some other stuff as well. We reissued our Frank Yankovic and Friends Volume 1 and 2, Songs of the Polka King. We issued that on vinyl for the very first time, which features Drew Carey, Weird Al Yankovic, David Allan Coe, Akron native, Roger Martin, Cleveland's hillbilly singer,
Yeah.
to Don Everly and many, many others. And, we signed a few artists. This was pre-COVID. And then obviously once COVID hit, we kind of reshifted our focus in a way that we were going to start moving things forward. We've got several live recordings from back in the day that we are reissuing, or not reissuing rather, they've never been released. We're putting them out next month. We got the official Georgia Satellites live album we're putting out from Peabody's Down Under in the Flats, if you guys remember that from 1998.
Oh, yeah.
And it is an incredible live show. And, we're going to be putting out Southside Johnny and the Jukes with Ronnie Spector live at the Agora from 1977. And, we got some other surprises we're going to be putting out here this year, as well as going into next year, which we're really, really excited about. So, we got our whole merchandise line. We're still pumping those out, which has been great. And, we're excited about where we're at now, and we're looking forward to, to the future as well. We're excited.
You talked a little bit about polka. Polka is always interesting to me. It's very ingrained into the fabric of Cleveland and Northeast Ohio. Can you talk a little bit about that, kind of the background of polka in that area?
Well, I think you can go all up and down, the East Coast. You look at, places like Pittsburgh, Buffalo, New York. It's polka is something, I have to believe that punk and ska had derived from polka music. And if you listen to it, they're very, very similar.
Yeah.
But, again, Frank Yankovic, America's Polka King, from Collinwood. Guys like Jeff Pecan and Joey Miskelin. Cleveland has such a rich history for polka musicians, that went on, like Frank, to sell millions of records when he was with Columbia Records back in the 40s and 50s. It's an interesting reference. My dad always said it was his people's Prozac. Growing up in Southwest Pennsylvania. Well, if you think about it, you can't listen to polka and be in a bad mood. It's uplifting. It's happy.
Yeah.
In heaven there is no beer. That's why we drink it here. Roll out the barrel. Come on. And there's millions of Eastern Europeans, that live here in the U.S. all know and love polka music. I don't think Oktoberfest have been any bigger in the U.S. than they have in the last probably 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Why is that? It's a great excuse to drink beer, dance. Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Did you and your
Yeah.
dad do any polka dancing?
Oh, absolutely. My dad used to. I remember when we first moved down to Nashville. He put on what is now famously called. He put on Polka Pandemonium, which was incredible. And when we moved back to Cleveland, he would do those as well. We actually did a couple Polka Pandemoniums at the Beachland Ballroom. You know, them too. Cindy Barber and Mark Letty have been very, very supportive, obviously, of us. They made their green room the Steve Popovich and Marty Mooney green room. You know, and actually, we're going to be having another Polka Pandemonium coming up around my father's birthday, around July 6th. So you guys be sure to come on down and have a few beers and dance the night away with us.
I love it. I never, for some reason, I never put the connection together between polka and ska. That makes so much sense. I'm a big, from back in the day, I'm a kid of the 90s, so Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, you know.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I
mean, there's a band called the Polkaholics. We play polkas on guitar. I mean, you got to check that out. There's a band called the Dreadnoughts, Brave Combo, who we won a polka Grammy with back in 1999. I mean, they played David Burns' Wedding. You know, they were on The Simpsons. There's a whole polka movement out there, and has been, and it's been underground. But I'll tell you, there's young guys like Alex Meixner and the Chardon Polka Band. You know, I think this world could use a little more polkas right now.
I completely agree, and that one needs to go on a shirt right there. There's some more merchandising for you.
World
You need to
needs
put that
more
on a shirt. Put your
You
logo
can go to
on.
our website and get some of that stuff. We got it all lined
Here
up.
we go. All right.
Yeah.
That's merchandising. That's merchandising. That's promotions.
I'll be sure and send you guys some stuff.
Ah, fantastic. We will wear it with pride.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you will.
Wow, Steve. Well, I really love your whole background and story. This is fascinating to me. I like learning the music history stuff. And actually, Oktoberfest, I went for the first time this year, and I was like really surprised by all the dancing, and it was phenomenal. Your history
they get a
brought
couple
to the table.
100,000 people there over a weekend. It's unbelievable. Wow. It's incredible.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people.
You know, and DJ Kishka, you know, Dingus Day, you know,
yeah.
That's another thing that's been popularized big time. So there is a movement out there.
Oh yeah, people were. It was a lot of fun. I felt bad I hadn't been to it before. It was definitely hopping, and yeah, you don't have to twist my arm about July 6th. It's already on my calendar about beer and dancing.
Just make sure you bring your skis with you.
Okay.
Right. No, we're talking
for sure.
Ski and polka and beer.
Oh, Steve.
Yep. It doesn't get any better, right?
There you go. We got them all, man.
Full circle, Steve. Full circle.
That's it. That's what it's all about, guys.
That's right. Thanks for taking some time with us. This was super fun to hear about.
And I appreciate you guys.
Yeah. And where can everyone find the merchandise and kind of check you guys out?
You can just go to clevelandinternational.com.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right, man. Appreciate the time.
No, thank you guys. I enjoyed it. We'll do it again.
Heck yeah. All right.
care.
Good stuff from Steve Popovich Jr. Is that Blue?
That's my dog.
Is that Blue?
Blue is getting he gets the zoomies at night, and
he can come in for Who Wants to Be a Billionaire if you want.
Yeah, maybe I should bring him in. No, he'll be a wild child. He'll eat all my cords in here.
All right, but he could give Alan clues. It's time for Who Wants to Be a Billionaire. We've been talking about beer. It is time. Cavs, let's do it. Who Wants to Be a Billionaire? Brought to you by Labatt Blue. Each week, one contestant gets their chance to answer Cavs trivia questions for a chance to win. Start off with cash for a 6-pack, then a 12-pack, then a case, and then a case and a GV art shirt if you keep it going. Alan, welcome to Who Wants to Be a Billionaire, sir. How are you?
Good, thank you. Looking forward to it.
Are you confident in your Cavs
I feel
knowledge?
pretty confident. I'm curious how far back we're going to go, but
No idea. We haven't even looked.
okay.
I was gonna say,
I used to see him at the Richfield Coliseum, so hopefully
Okay,
Yeah.
we're not going back farther than that, so
Okay.
you're good.
All right.
All right,
Sounds
let's get the epic music going.
good. Okay.
The epic music and the blues barking. Question number 1 for cash for a 6-pack of Labatt. In 2007, which team did the Cavs beat in the Eastern Conference Finals to make to the franchise's first ever NBA Finals appearance?
Detroit.
Heck yeah.
Woo!
no
That is
hesitation there. Very
correct.
Yeah,
good.
I had that one. Yep.
Yeah.
I got a lot of beer spilled on me after that 25-point.
Yeah, that's when Cody
Performance.
Gibson went crazy.
Oh man, nice reference. Yeah, boo-wee. I believe we play Detroit this Sunday coming up too.
Great.
All right, you got cash for a 6-pack. Would you like to move on for a 12-pack?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Chris, hit him with the question.
LeBron is the Cavs' all-time leader in almost every statistical category. One stat he does not lead in is block shots. Which Cavs 1996 first-round draft pick is the franchise's career block leader with a total of 1,269 blocks?
96. Maybe Zdrunas Ilgauskas.
That is correct. Big Z.
Well done.
All right.
Oh, we're gonna have a winner here. I can feel it. I can
Let's see if you
feel
can
it.
go down the list. He was too confident. All right, you got Zdrunas Ilgauskas. Who do you think is number 2?
Larry Nance.
Close. Larry Nance was 3rd.
All right.
I would've
Same
guessed Larry.
time. Yeah, I would have too. Same time.
Blacker.
John Hot Rod Williams.
Correct. John Hot Rod Williams. And number 4.
4, maybe LeBron at that point. But
There it is. You got it. Well done. Yeah. Number
Oh,
1
he
is
is
Z. Number
soaking
2 is
this.
Hot Rod. Number 3 is Larry Nance. Number 4 is LeBron.
All right. Okay.
All right,
I
man.
think-
You got a 12-pack. I feel like you got to move on.
Yeah, I definitely have to, for sure.
It's making it look
All right.
easy.
I think we're gonna have a winner. Okay.
Oh, don't jinx
Don't
it.
jinx me yet.
You're in for number 3, are we?
Yes, we are.
Okay, for cash for a 24-pack of Labatt Blue, featuring Blue's faint barks in the background. The Cavs just beat the Knicks tonight. The last time we played the Knicks, this guard came off the bench and scored 37 points in 31 minutes, the most points by a Cavs player this year. Who is that guard?
Ricky Rubio.
He's got it.
He looks so good in that game.
Yeah, he
Wow.
was. I was in New York, too, I believe.
Yeah. How do you feel about Rondo thus far taking over for Rubio?
Well, I think it's a little bit of. I do like that he's a veteran, but it hurts that he was playing so well.
Yeah.
But it's good to have experience, better than having Pangos out there. Or, good ones. Okay, but
I would agree with
stay
that.
healthy. That's the biggest piece, right? So
Yeah, absolutely. All right, you've got a case of Labatt Blue Light. Would you like to move on to have a shirt to wear while you're drinking that?
let's do it. I'm ready.
All right. For a case of Labatt and a GV Art shirt, here we go. Question number 4. The Cavs play Milwaukee on Wednesday. We all remember the infamous play from the 2018 NBA Finals where J.R. Smith got a rebound and dribbled out the clock during a tied game.
Yes. Oh, how can you not forget the memes, everything? Yeah.
In fact, in our show notes, the meme is in there. Is actually the hint is that picture. I love that.
Oh, it's bad. All right, which former Cavalier and current Bucks guard missed the free throw that JR rebounded?
George Hill.
Whoa!
No hesitation. We have a winner.
How can you not forget that one? That hurt too, man. That hurt.
That was bad. That was
Yeah.
rough overall.
Yeah, it
I
was.
can't believe you got that. All 4 of
That's
those.
awesome.
You cruised.
Yeah.
George Hill, there's no way I was pulling that one out. There's no way.
Oh, I remember that like it was yesterday.
You would have had George Hill?
Oh yeah, that was brutal. Gab, do you remember that?
I
remember
do
it.
remember that. I'm glad you guys also put in the meme in the notes as you mentioned because I had to look down and see that, and I didn't even notice.
Yeah,
Alan, congratulations, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That was easy. Now you've earned your time to break
Mm-hmm.
down the Cavs. Give us 30 seconds on what you think this Cavs team has done so far. What do you think their ceiling is for this year, and what do you look for them to do in the second half?
Yeah, so I think what the most exciting part about it is we're doing it without LeBron, right?
Yes.
As much as you love LeBron and everything he's done, this is I think the first time since early '90s that we were able to do anything, get to playoffs. The last time I think it was with Sean Kemp, I believe. But yeah, it's exciting. I mean, obviously you got a young nucleus there with Garland, and then you got Mobley who's playing unbelievable. Jared Allen.
Yeah.
I just think that they need to have one more move in there to get a shooting guard, somebody who can score and penetrate. And unfortunately, to do that, you got to give up something. And that's the hardest part, right? What do you give up? But I mean, they're playing with house money the way I feel like it right now. Love's playing great. I think they'll probably end up like 5th or 6th. I just want to stay in that range. We don't have to play in the playing game. But hey, anything, even if you get in the playing game, any type of experience can be good for them right now for sure. So exciting. I think they're probably one of the most exciting teams to watch right now. Who would have said that at the beginning of the year, right?
No doubt.
Absolutely in Cleveland, yeah. All right, Alan. We appreciate the time. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Thank you.
And we'll shoot you a DM.
Sounds great. Thanks a lot. Have a good night.
Good stuff from Alan. All right.
That was the most confident run through that segment we've ever had. Like, no doubt.
Like, if I didn't know better, I would have thought we gave him the answers ahead of time. But I
No
can
kidding.
confirm that did not happen. Like, sometimes I do at the ballpark to help people win.
Oh, we have a bit of a scandal here. Wait,
Sometimes I do. Sometimes. Not all the time.
You tip your hand. You tell them what's coming up. You tip.
I
your
do it on
pitches.
beer
You
money,
tip your
too.
pitches at beer money?
I would entice people to be on the show by letting them know, I won't let you embarrass yourself. I'll give you a hint for the first answer. And then that would get them to go on.
I can attest to that.
And Alan was smooth sailing. Congrats, Alan, for being so knowledgeable on our Cavs.
I thought beer money was the last bastion of integrity. Disillusioning.
It
right
probably
now.
was. It probably was before I got there and muddied it up with too many hints.
Oh, I'm sure nowadays Jensen's just giving them all the answers. I can't watch this anymore.
Who is the mascot for the Cleveland baseball team, Gavs? It rhymes with rider.
Oh. I know. I'd be like,
Read this card here. See?
Oh man.
No, I would just be like, all right, like if it was Zeke Elliott or something, I'd be like, this dude rocks a crop top. Like I would just, I didn't full on give him away. But you guys have seen me full on give stuff away.
Yeah,
on this
you've
show,
been
so I'm not
around.
advocating for myself well enough.
It's frustrated because you have some people who are really good. Then you have some people who are just really, really bad and also really drunk, which I know is part of the allure of the show. But did you ever get frustrated with people where you're just like, come on, I'm trying to do this thing. Come on.
Yes and no. Oh no, the funnest people were when we would go to these casinos, and this might be why there isn't a sponsor for it right now. We had finally gotten a big sponsor, and it was like this Casino Racino. But your clientele on a Tuesday at a Racino in Pennsylvania, Cleveland sports fans, it was hard. A lot of I just remember this one time we had this great segment and we couldn't use it because the guy's nipple was showing through his shirt. like his shirt was cut in such a way that he just had like a nip slip, and we couldn't use it on television. So that is like kind of in a nutshell what you were dealing with.
Beer money behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, yeah.
Nipple slips.
Another one we couldn't use, a woman got something wrong and she insisted she took the money and ran anyway, like took it away from me because she thought I gave her too much encouragement to go to the next question. I was like, "You gonna go in for it? Oh, come on, you can do it." And then she did it and got it wrong. It was like, "Well, I'm keeping my money." And then we were like, "We're just not gonna run this segment because this is awkward that we just got hustled on our own show."
Did you guys run after her?
No, I was just like, that's your $5 now.
They took
I
it
just-
out
I
of
just-
Gab's pay later on.
Yeah, they were like, wow.
Oh, that's
That's
fantastic. We're gonna have to do a behind the beer bunny segment each show to hear more of these stories.
Oh man! All right, let's keep it going. We're running late. Let's get to headlines. Cleveland headlines brought to you by TSE Cleveland. Go subscribe to that YouTube channel for your chance to win all those eligible giveaways. TSECleveland.com. All right, so we have some new merch in Cleveland. Big reveal teaser yesterday.
That was a great teaser. Did you see my response to it?
I did not.
Oh, I said they're
Oh,
releasing the
geez.
Succession hats because there's just a black hat. You know, the hats they wore in Succession. That's like the rich person's hat these days is just to wear a
Oh, yeah.
bright baseball cap, which is basically what they released yesterday as the tees. And so I said those are Succession caps. I thought it kind
Yeah,
of weird.
Chris, thoughts on these hats?
They're exactly what we thought they were going to be, right?
They're hats.
Yeah, I mean that's the logo that we knew about. That's the hat style we already are familiar with, and they put it together. It's like, okay, yeah, that's what we thought.
Well done.
Now I had seen something today, and I don't know if this is correct or not, but they've also got the winged baseball right as a logo, and evidently they can't put that on the hat because it's got a baseball in it, and you can't do that on hats in MLB. They won't let you put a white baseball onto a cap.
Really?
I don't know if that's true or not. It sounded like a pretty
It
good
can't
story.
be true.
If it's
For
not
on-field caps, I'll have to look into
on-field
that.
caps, yeah,
Oh,
for
for
on-field
on-
caps, you can't have it.
Because I mean, I
you can
definitely
put whatever you want on a cap. I mean, if you want to sell it in the team store, but I'm saying if it's going to be what they actually wear, you can't have a baseball on there. And I don't know if that's true or
That's
not.
a great way. That's a great way for the Guardians to kind of pivot away from that logo because I don't like that logo at all. And
Guys,
go,
did I
there's
tell
reason
you?
have to get rid of it? No. What? Breaking news.
No, did I tell you? Like 2 weeks ago, I had an epiphany, and I
You're wearing.
love our logo now.
Oh no!
And this is not. No. Listen
How
to
much
me.
did they pay you to say that right now?
Nothing. I want to tell you why.
I renewed my contract, and now I love these logos. I
No,
can't get
listen.
enough.
It's not. No, in fact, yeah, no. No, I don't get paid enough to be this amped about it. But I want to tell you because it's cool how I landed on how I love it. So
How I
want
learned to love the logo.
this is what happened. This is what happened. I thought to myself, now, Gab, remove the emotional attachment. If this new team unveiled their new logo today and it was Chief Wahoo and we were the Indians and they unveiled it right now, like did the whole social media campaign, dropped it on Twitter, and then bam, they whipped out Chief Wahoo. Would you think that was a beautiful piece of art?
No,
And-
I think it'd be hilariously bad.
And in that context, I was like, no, I think it's really dumb looking. Like without my entire emotional attachment to it, I was like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And so then I started looking at this logo with different eyes. I don't know how it happened, and then I started looking at other logos and I was like, what were we really expecting though out of a logo? And then all of a sudden, I don't know, there's
Not
something.
clip art.
But you could say that about so many. I know that's where I was like, is this on the fence of that? A lot of naysayers were saying that. But then if you look at I think the Brewers have the best logo in baseball, but I can't think of anybody else who has like some unique twist on anything. They're all clip art. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's true. Even the iconic ones like the Yankees. I mean, that's really just letters put together. Boston.
And then I went down a different rabbit hole and I was like, I can't believe there was a point in time where we convinced this city that we were going to name our football team the Browns, and they got the whole city on board with the fact that we were going to be brown and orange and we were going to be the Browns. And
Yeah, Paul Brown. So everybody
Well,
liked
yeah.
Paul Brown. Paul Brown seemed to think he owned the Browns at that time.
Yeah, but I guess to
Unfortunately,
your
he didn't.
point,
Went down to
the logo is a helmet that they wear on the field. So that's
yeah, like what they did, like it's all very basic. I don't know.
basic isn't bad, but that logo still sucks. I'm sorry.
I guess I'm playing
I
devil's
like the
advocate.
crinkly C. The crinkly C works. The new hats are fine. I like them. I mean,
Yeah, those are completely fine. I mean, it looks like they took the block C and they just grabbed it and like
yeah,
that.
they
And
just
Yeah.
sprinkled it a little bit. They put it on a hat. They
Yeah,
made a
nothing
big
wrong with that.
reveal out of it. Which is
I
what you
still
do.
think they need to get rid of the one that you're starting to like, Gab.
No, I'm on board with it now, and I would like to gather a band of people who are with me because everyone. The cool thing is to bash it, and I get it because people hate change and blah blah blah. But there's this cool feel to the wings. I like it. It's like angels in the outfield, and it's a G. Guess who's G here? Me. That hat says
Super good.
Gabriella the Guardian, basically. So
Nice.
I don't know. I'm on
There's
board
actually
with it
2
now.
G's on it, I believe.
You're gonna have to recruit people.
Is it on your sweat? Is it on your sweater?
Oh yeah,
It is.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's right there. It's
See?
very prominent.
So I guess smaller, it doesn't look as bad, but when you get close up, it's like, "Ugh."
I don't know. It's cool. It kind of
Oh,
reminds me of
he's
like the
recruiting
Heat
you,
with
Dave. Oh my gosh! Look at.
All right, you know how the Heat, isn't it the Heat? Yeah, with the basketball going through the net type thing.
Yeah, the flaming basketball.
Yeah, like what's wrong with a baseball with wings? It's like
Flaming
it's cool,
baseball,
guys.
flaming
I'm
basketball.
starting to think it's cool, so I'm gonna make everyone think it's cool.
All right. I wish you luck.
Yes. Why don't you start with the hashtag ride with 6 people? See if you can convince all those folks.
Oh, we made it. We made it an hour without talking about that.
Oh,
Also, I know it's not gonna happen. People give me so much shit on Twitter for liking the logo. They're like, "Brah, you should get out of that sweatshirt or whatever." And I'm like, I am excited for it.
what?
That had nothing to do with the logo.
Yeah, that didn't. Yeah.
No, it wasn't a creeper comment. Well, actually, they were, but okay. Anyway,
They all are. Gab.
That one wasn't, but all the ones around us on our screen were.
That's great. All right. This is kind of old news. Kyrie Irving fined for clapping back. I hate that term, by the way. I think we should get rid of that in 2022.
Yeah, that
Clapping.
one's aged. That one's aged.
Yeah, get rid of it. He said, "Got y'all a championship, and you're still ungrateful." Chris, what are your thoughts on Kyrie Irving?
Trash talking's fine, right? I mean, I have no problem with it. I have no problem with what the fans said. I have no problems with Kyrie snapping back at him. And it's not a disrespect thing. Like everybody's like, oh, I hate this whole narrative that anytime a fan does anything, everybody's, oh, it makes our whole fan base look bad. Like, shut up. Like a dude in the stand saying something, they could say whatever they want to. And in this case, I didn't even think they said anything that embarrasses anybody. I mean, trash talk to players existed as long as sport has, and that's the reason sport's so great, is to have a little bit of that rivalry in there, and that's what that is, and that's all well and good. I don't think the NBA should have fined him, but I mean, they didn't fine him that much, so it's not a big deal even on that end. And yeah, let this stuff go and enjoy it and kind of embrace this sort of thing. Don't make a big deal out of it and say, no, we shouldn't be doing this stuff. That's what sports is. I mean, sports is talking crap, is saying, what we think we are as a city versus who you are as a player, and go after them. Don't be so sensitive, people.
Right? I agree with you there. Our buddy Justin Rowan, Cavs Anada, on Twitter says caps, all caps tonight. Kevin freaking Love. Chris, we were just talking about it. Cavs beat the Knicks tonight, 95-93. Wow, it came back. Kevin Love, 6 threes, scoring 20 and 11. How refreshing is it to see Kevin Love find his role with this team post LeBron?
I love the note that we have in. LeBron would say
What's
he
that?
fit in instead of fitting out. Remember those old social media days?
oh my gosh,
fitting out.
yes.
And he's definitely fitting in right now. Way to go, Kevin Love. We talked about it on several shows now in a row, just how he has fulfilled that role of coming off the bench. He doesn't have to be a starter, and he isn't a starter. Despite that fact, he comes off, and he's actually an energy guy, which still doesn't make sense to me, just with his play and what he's able to get out of the guys around him. Not only his game, but everybody else. He elevates it in that second team, and I applaud him because we'd written him off on this show 9 million times going into this. And sure enough, man, he is playing, and God, props to the guy. Keep it up. He's part of the success that we've had so far and what we're going to need going forward.
We thought only fat Kevin Love could save us, and he completely changed it. And he has been.
And he didn't get fat. Yeah, he didn't have to get fat to come back.
That's a win-win.
Win-win.
All right, we made it an hour 6 minutes. All right, Baker Mayfield. Speaking of fit in, fit out, he's tweeting maybe his last tweet for a while. Nevertheless, social media is toxic. Always kept my circle tight. Time to get back to that. Family and loved ones only. Liking some tweets. Chris, you're our social media guru expert. Any advice for Baker on how to handle himself?
He's doing a little fast and furious there. Family. It's all about family now, right? For
Let me find a Vin
this time.
Diesel real quick.
I was trying to workshop a meme out of that earlier, and then I decided I didn't want to get part of the Baker Wars today. But yeah, once again, if you're going to leave social media at any point, don't announce you're leaving social media. I say that to everybody. Just kind of go away. I just ignore it because that's part of leaving social media. If you make a big deal out of it, then you get responses. And when you get responses, that's still being a part of social media. So therefore, you haven't left it. I don't know. It's not going to do him any good to be on social media right now in the middle of the Baker Wars. He's got people coming out of the woodwork. He's got media. He's got former players. And it just creates a whole mess and is a whole lot of distraction for a guy who should be rehabbing right now and focusing on being much better next year than what he was this past year. And when you guys got guys like Joe Burrow out there and the Cincinnati Bengals, and hell, you saw that game between the Chiefs and the Bills. I mean, my God, two quarterbacks just dueling it out. Baker's got to raise his game. So, yeah, get away from social media. Get away from everything. Just go and practice and read defenses, watch film this offseason because we need you significantly better next year than what you were this year in order to compete and be the team that we thought you were going to be this year come next year. So, right? I mean, he's got a lot of work to do. That's one thing. Watching all these great playoff games, I was thinking, man, we got some work to do at that quarterback position if we're going to get anywhere close to these guys, because it seems like we have gotten nowhere closer. And in fact, we've gotten farther away than what we were at the beginning of the year.
Gab, how have the Brown spaces been on Twitter?
They're hilarious.
Me and Chris have not really ventured into those all.
I went into like 2, and that was a
you?
while ago. Yeah.
What's going on? Fill us in.
It's just, wait, actually, let me see, because I took some notes on my phone yesterday, because I thought there could be something funny with this, because the way they go down are hilarious. What did I write, guys? And this was a common line I heard. That's a concern. That's like everyone would make a comment and then they would just and that's a concern. Like even if we have good receivers, would Baker even be able to hit them?
Well, and that's a concern.
And then a pause, and then someone would just open their mic and be like, that's a concern.
Oh my God.
And let's see.
Yes.
Oh yeah, anyone here to defend Baker's tweet? Baker needs to get off Twitter. He's a franchise quarterback. A lot of that.
Whoa, is it Colin Cowherd? I just don't like my franchise quarterback going on social media.
Yeah, right. See, because I'm kind of on the side, Chris, where I'm like
wearing his hat backwards.
Yeah, there we go.
What happened to Carson Wentz's season?
No one cares.
No,
he's gone.
I'm kind of like, yeah, Baker, tweet whatever you want. I just think, like, with pointers for social media, I feel like don't use the word toxic. Don't acknowledge. Just if you're going to tweet something, make it a positive light and like be done with it. Don't acknowledge anyone else. But he kind of like brings up the topic of drama and uses the words toxic. And it's kind of like,
he went after Mary Kay. I mean, make no bones about it. If you start going after people in the media, then don't get upset when people come back at you, whether they're media, fans, or anything else. You're the aggressor in that.
Well, case. Yeah, and it just seems like, how do you think that you're not starting something by unblocking someone, liking their tweet? You know that people are going to notice. You know that people are going to talk about it, but you say that it's toxic and you want to avoid it, but you're kind of like participating and instigating it too. So like, I'm kind of like, dude, say what you want, but also just know that you're like creating something right now.
Yeah, I think to Chris's point, like we literally just don't care anymore. Just please come back and be a very good quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't care if you don't post anything.
That would be sick. Yeah. How sick would that be? What a statement. I love this kind of shit. I love movies like this where like silence. We hear nothing from him and just like everything is just, he's just balling out. Like no one ever would be like, wow, I wish we would have heard more from this guy in the offseason. Ain't nobody care what, like,
Right.
literally nobody cares.
There's somebody in Cincinnati going, Joe Burrow this last off season, he really didn't post much. I noticed on Instagram. I'm going to hang up and take your answer off air.
He doesn't have to fight to be relevant. You have the job. Like, you're
Correct.
here.
Yeah. And I will say, I don't want to spend the entire offseason. It's not even the offseason yet with these Baker wars on Twitter. Like it's impossible. You got to mute all of it. It's horrible. Like we live and die with hope in Cleveland. It seems like that's never going to change, which is kind of unfortunate. But you have to go into this offseason with the hope that he's going to be a really good quarterback. He's going to heal and he's going to lead us to the playoffs. Because if you're just sitting there on social media and you're just bitching for 8 months about Baker Mayfield and how much he sucks, even though he's going to be the starting quarterback, like, what are you
He's
doing?
inevitable. He's inevitable.
What are you doing?
Do people not realize that? Like, you can
Yes.
have all these fantasies about Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson that you want to. That's fun. You can have a big old party for that. But Baker Mayfield is inevitable for the Cleveland Browns. No matter what you tweet, no matter what you post, Baker Mayfield is going to be the starting quarterback. So all these other conversations really don't matter. I don't care how many spaces you do, and I don't care how many comments you have on it. Baker Mayfield is inevitable.
Yes, and you support the inevitable quarterback
Yes.
all the way.
Unless you have Case Keenum.
And then you bitch at him during the games.
That's right.
And you're
Like a
allowed to
normal
be
fan.
mad at the dude for sucking.
Right.
But we're in the offseason. We need hope. Just hope that he's going to be good and just be done with it.
Agreed.
All right, best and worst tweet.
Let's do it.
Let's go. All right. Let's take a look. Best tweet. Kickers. Phil Dawson, part 3. Still think kickers aren't that important.
Wow, what an amazing tweet. I can't believe I didn't see that.
We were just talking about, or Chris, you were just talking about quarterbacks, how well they played. How about the kickers, man?
Yeah. 3 out of the 4 games decided by kickers, essentially. I mean, that's
A
pretty
drafted
incredible.
kicker.
What fantastic games. And it's kind of funny though, in this tweet, Phil Dawson of all people saying that kickers aren't that important. Like, he's the most celebrated kicker, who hasn't really had a big moment outside of Cleveland. But he's celebrated by everybody here. And we certainly in Cleveland know the value of kickers. Just because we haven't had one since Phil Dawson doesn't mean that we aren't just dying to get one. So it's kind of funny that him of all people are saying, oh, I still think kickers aren't that important. My God, how much love have we given you over the years, Phil? I'm sitting here looking at a Phil Dawson jersey.
No, that's not directed. So am I. Yeah, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't think that's directed at Cleveland at all.
No, I don't think it is either. I don't even think it's even really all that
Yeah.
serious. I think people in the NFL, smart people that he knows know that kickers are important, but it's just they're always written off. Everybody wants to talk about the quarterback and talk about the running back and talk about the wide receiver. Nobody wants to talk about the kicker until the game is on the line and he's trotting out there for a big one.
That's right. God, that would be a nice if we could draft one player that worked out this year. Kicker. I would go kicker.
Well, I'd go quarterback if we were drafting a quarterback.
Oh, come on. Worst tweet.
Dustin Fox. We're going to go down the Baker hole again, huh?
Maybe for a minute.
Yeah, so Baker Mayfield liked one of Dustin's earlier tweets where he said, "Do you folks see why what you have at quarterback just isn't good enough?" #Browns. Obviously a shot at Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield then liked it. Then Dustin Fox comes back. He couldn't leave well enough alone. Interesting, the starting quarterback of a franchise liked this tweet, considering he has me blocked. Hope he proves us wrong. Which, for those of you who don't know Twitter, means that Baker went in, unblocked him just to like this tweet, and then blocked him again, probably as well on the way out. So
and then unblocked him.
Yeah. I don't know. That's an awful lot of work. Just Baker, go in the film room and work on that. Stop feuding with Mary Kay. Stop feuding with Dustin Fox. You can feud with me because, that'll raise my profile here. And that's what I need, really. So go ahead, go after Reflog all you want to. But everyone else, do not feud with. Just make sure you're in there watching film.
Gab, any thoughts? Any parting words?
I don't have any parting words. No. I don't want to keep feeding into it, but it just feels like a high school, doesn't it feel like high school girl drama? I don't know. It's just bizarre.
Yes. It's like
It's passive aggressive. It's weird. It's petty. It's girly in a way. It's like, I'm blocked and then I liked and then I'm going to block again. Like, what are we in a toxic relationship right now? Yeah,
Yes.
he's right to use the word toxic. So he very well knows the meaning of it, I suppose, but I don't know. No parting words. I just hope he balls out. That's all.
Those were good parting words.
My parting thoughts here, Dave.
What's that? Let's hear
back from the interview. Meatloaf being played by Chris Farley, and what a missed opportunity that was for the world right there. Chris Farley, Meatloaf movie. Sad that we've lost both of those gentlemen. Both were just fantastic. I mean, there's not enough can be said about both those guys. Chris Farley, I mean, my God. And if that would have happened, that would have been the pinnacle of everything. So appreciate what you have in this life, right?
Good parting words, man. Good
There
parting words.
All right. See y'all next week.
All right. Thanks to the sponsors, Check News, Labette, GV, TSE Cleveland. Thanks to Steve Popovich Jr. for stopping by, talking some Meatloaf. And we will see you guys next Monday night. See you later.
Hey, we're going to talk more skiing next Monday night, too. We've got a guest who's from out west. She's really good at skiing. She's a ski instructor out there. And also, because I'm trying to work more skiing into the show. And also an expert on football. So she's going to give us some national perspective.
There we go. Nice tease. I like that. One more tease. Would you guys want to play some golf in the garage one night? Jimmy Hanlon would like to come over and do an interview and play 18.
Yes, that's a good one.
Let's do it.
He'd be great. That's a great one.
So he is in. So we will we'll schedule that maybe on a day where it's not like -16 and 5 feet of snow.
Good thinking.
All right, let's go. Goodbye.
It's time! Streaming live from Cleveland, Ohio! Presenting the undefeated, undisputed heavyweight podcast of the world, The Big Play!